Hi everyone, welcome to Homerino Collectibles, where today I'm going to be bringing you something extremely special. This is the Microblaze Creations MBC002 Military Titans kit. Now this is essentially a third-party Onslaught that also comes with some add-ons so that you can make your Fall of Cybertron Bruticus just game accurate and absolutely fantastic. Improve the articulation, the proportions, the weapons, just improve it in every single possible way. And this thing is amazing. So I was amongst a few people that were messaging Microblaze Creations through Facebook, trying to get them to say, look, just bring out the SDCC coloured parts as well as part of this first run, because people who are actually going to pre-order this are most likely going to be collectors and whatnot that either have the SDCC version or the Platinum Edition version, which is what I've got that came with the Grimlock, which is pretty much the same. So they are the game accurate colours. You know, those are the people that are going to want to pre-order it. A lot of people who have the retail version, yeah, they're going to pre-order it, but a lot of them are literally people that bought them from stores, i.e. maybe parents or their kids and stuff, that don't even know what third-party stuff is. Therefore, it would be really great if we could get the proper SDCC parts, like these ones here, which I'm going to show you in a second, with this set, and they came through and they did it, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm not saying I'm taking any pride in doing that or anything. It's just I was one of the people that was speaking to them and told them that that's something that they really should do, and it's just awesome that they have done that. So as you can see, 15 plus, it says it's suitable for people that are 16 and over, and that's pretty much just because it's a third-party thing. I think that this would be perfectly fine. The plastic quality is absolutely fantastic, I have to say. Barely any flex in a lot of the pieces and everything. There's no like super sharp edges and stuff, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't say give it to kids, but I wouldn't say that you need to be 16 really. So let's get this thing open and take a look at what it comes with. So I also just want to point out before we get on too much into this video, this thing is packaged really well. It's got a piece of sellotape on all four sides, and it's also got this like metal wire thing here through the middle and twisty tied on the back to ensure that every piece stays in its allocated slot, which is fantastic. So you're not going to get this with pieces rocking around the box and everything, so that's awesome. So we get the instructions, which are absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to get these out here just to show you. You get this smaller piece, which is just black and white, just a little bit of showing you what to do. That kind of makes me feel like, because this is all in colour and that's just a small piece, that they've kind of forgotten to include it in this. But this is huge. So basically, if I can get it round here, it shows you how to transform Onslaught from robot to vehicle mode. It also shows you how to use the parts to create the arm modes for both blast off and vortex, and how they work as their guns. It shows you how to transform Onslaught from robot mode to combiner mode, and because it does that from robot mode, basically I'm going to be showing it you in vehicle mode to robot, and then from robot to combiner later on in this video. And basically it shows you how to use the Brawl and Swindle add-on stuff to create their combiner forms and their weapons and everything. Absolutely fantastic instructions. Really, you know, there's loads of it there. Really awesome illustrations and everything. Really, really good. So you get the extra SDCC game accurate colour parts in these little baggies, and basically you just have to replace them with these parts. So those greens there, and then you get these two side pieces, which are there, and then the centre chest piece there. So you just have to swap them out if you have that version, and if not, then obviously you can leave them as they are. So basically every future release of this, they will either come with the game accurate colours like this, or they will come with the retail version like this. And for this first run, we get the Berserk mask, which is right here. We get a flamethrower thing, we get the two guns, which are used to create the arms. We have Brawl add-on pieces, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So we're going to get into everything in just a second. I just want to mention real quick, if you want to see the review for the proper Bruticus set, I have that review on my channel. I'll put the link in the description so you can go ahead and check that out. so you can just see the regular set. I will be showing a comparison between this guy and the retail version of Onslaught, or at least the Platinum Edition version anyway. And I'll be showing you how every single bit in this box works with vehicle mode, robot mode, and combiner mode, with everything. So you'll see absolutely everything that you can do with this set. So stay tuned. I know it's going to be a bit of a long video, but trust me, it'll be worthwhile. So stick around. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at Onslaught. Here is Onslaught in his vehicle mode, and this thing is pretty damn fantastic in relation to this thing. So this was the original Onslaught, the Hasbro version. It's a deluxe, and basically, yeah, it's not all too great. Now, this is the kind of classic Onslaught colour, this blue. It is the game correct colour for Onslaught himself. Then when he turns into Bruticus, he gets more of this kind of a colour. But I do prefer Bruticus, the actual chess piece, having this colouring because it's the classic Onslaught look. It's how Bruticus looked in like G1, for example, you know, colour-wise. So I really do like the fact that they have brought it out with this colour. So this one will work with both the retail version and for the SDCC sort of versions. Now, it won't work, obviously, or at least as well, for the G2 colouring, so I don't know if they're going to bring out one for that. I hope they do, because then obviously people who have that version can have an awesome Bruticus. So yeah, basically this is great for those two versions for replacing this guy. So this is a Deluxe and this is a Voyager. You can see it increases the size massively. You haven't got this huge gap in the back. You got a bit of a gap, but really not much. Nothing noticeable really, because these bits, which will become the feet, you know, close together to fill that gap up. These bits, which are kind of part-forming bits, they do pop off for use later on. They actually kind of cover up a little bit, but for the most part, it works so well. I mean, this is an accurate sort of representation, like the look of it and everything. I mean, obviously the front was very accurate and everything, but it's just so much better, and you've got so much more molded in detail and everything with this guy that just looks absolutely phenomenal. Something I want to point out is that this guy didn't even have a Decepticon logo, even though he had this little, there you go, that little crest bit right there that basically is in the shape of one. Obviously on here we've got it a bit further up here, so there's no Decepticon logo on this either, and you've got that bit there too. But you can kind of imagine that there would be one on there somewhere, so you might be able to repro label one in there. We have the really nice wheels here with the purple inside. Nothing on the outside here. I do wish that some of these lines did have some purple in, as these wheels do actually have purple on them. Obviously the cannons are much better. This green piece here represents this piece here, which was really big and overcompensated for this guy because he doesn't have his actual weapons, which are these cannons, for his robot mode, and also these form the obviously cannons for Bruticus, which is completely unrealistic because it's actually these bits. And the reason that these are loose, they lock together but not all too great. They lock together perfectly when he is in Bruticus, and really well when he is in his robot mode. In the vehicle mode, they can come loose every now and then, but that's not too bad. So I really do like all these little bits of detail and everything. It just looks really, really good from all angles. Even underneath, it doesn't, you know, you can't see robot junk and stuff. Just looks absolutely fantastic from all angles. So for transformation, this guy, it's simple once you've done it a few times, but I would definitely recommend trying to follow the instructions. As I said earlier, the instructions are good in the amount of instructions. It's really good for photo references, for the kind of first and end product, and for everything else in this set. But for the actual Onslaught transformation, some of the bits just saying, you know, arrow, rotate it this way and stuff, I'll show you with the arms. There's so many turns and rotations that it's kind of like following the instructions can get a bit annoying. So hopefully, if you have this, either watch this review or do what I did and watch the first review on YouTube, which was Pior's, to get an understanding of the transformation better than the instructions, or just you know, try and figure it out, because the instructions, whilst they're good, they really could do with just a little bit more. It kind of seems as if it kind of skips a few steps. So what you want to do is just take these guns out. like so. So they're just kind of clipped together like this, and these pegs just go into either side of the arm. So you just take them out. They are two separate pieces, and then what you want to do, you can do whatever you want with these arms or whatnot, but just kind of open them up a little bit, and you can lift this whole section a little bit, just so that you bring these legs down, so that you can get to these panels. So these are the panels that just pop off right here, and they will be going back on these legs in a second, and obviously, judging from the shape, you can tell that they form a bit of the chest plate for Bruticus. So we can sort the legs out now. What we want to do is flip these out. You can flip the toes out of these bits. These are the feet, so they just come all the way around. Now this is where I have a problem. Now which side? There we go. So in here, you can see on this joint here, it is stressed. There we go, we got some focus. And that's because this bar, this metal bar in here, isn't really seated properly, as you can see. So as this rotates around, it's pushing against this. Now, although this is a very, very bad point, even if this did break, so this hinge essentially doesn't work, it does not affect the figure in any way, shape or form. Because here on the side, it is pegged in, right in there. And then this grey piece is also pegged in, right there. So even if this broke, I'd still have points to peg it in, so it would actually stay there. And what you do is you rotate it around, and then this goes into here like so. So you push that in, so it's kind of stays in, but it needs a little bit of something extra. So what you do is you rotate this so it's like that, and you see this little peg that's sticking out here, and this hole. You take the corresponding one of these, which I think it is that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to peg this on here. So obviously this connects to the wheel, this lower part, and this connects to the upper part. So even if the hinge that is around the back here did break, I can still connect the leg using these pieces and create a solid joint. So without me babbling on and everything about that, that is the legs done. So what we're going to do now is just flip this section up right here, and this green piece is going to sit inside this piece right here. And to get that to happen, we need to empty out the entirety of the chest, essentially. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this green piece up, rotate the head out, so it gives us some clearance. And then in here, these grey sections on the sides here are clipped in to this blue piece here. So you want to just kind of squeeze that so that you can pull it out. And this entire section comes out like so. Now what we want to do is basically pull those bits apart and rotate them out. They're going to be the arms. And this is where there's all the kind of rotation and strange bits and whatnot. So now with the legs out of the way, I can put the green piece into that blue piece, connect that up, and then make sure that this hinge in here, if I get some focus so we can actually see, this hinge in here is sitting flat and flush, and this is connected. So now Onslaught looks like so. So on the back here, this kind of just rests up. We open these flaps like so, get the wheels up and out of the way. We're going to do that on the other side too. So we're going to open these flaps, get the wheels up out of the way, and then bring the camera up a little bit further so that you can see this. Basically what's going to happen is this hinge that the arms are on, basically, hang on, I'll just move this flap out of the way first. Basically this is down like this. You just want to open this up so that it enables you to rotate here at that joint. So we've got this hole and then this peg. So we're going to bring that round and peg that in. Where is it? There it is. So that we have something that looks like that. Then you have the arm down like this. We're going to basically, this is going to go against here and sit flush like so, and then rotate the wheel around like this, and then what's going to happen is this peg is going to go into this joint here, so it's going to fold back in on itself and peg in to the side. If I can get it in there. There we go. And then that just sits down. that sits up. So that's done. So then we just open up these sections on the forearms here. If I can just get into this, I can't really get in there. I'll just try and... There you go. If you can't get it open like I just did, you can just push it on the hand and then just flip it out, and that's that. So do that to the other side, and then we're almost done. The headpiece here, you can see it's on this hinge. We push it down, and then in like that, and then that just locks his head onto the front. So that is basically Onslaught fully transformed. You can do whatever you want with these flaps at the back. You can leave them completely flat. You can bring them up and put them over that hinge, whatever. If you move the arms, as you can see, it kind of hits against it, whereas if it's out of the way, you can get more articulation. So for more articulation, you just want to kind of move it around as and when you need to. For Onslaught's weapons, these were connected this way, I think. Yep, this way in vehicle mode. What you want to do is just turn around. They slot together, they kind of hold, but they actually create a peg right there, and then you just put that, you can put it in his hand, or you can peg it into his arm right there, and then you can give him his arm cannons. So basically that is him fully transformed, and here he is in comparison to the deluxe Hasbro version of Onslaught. So in robot mode, obviously this Onslaught is much better than his vehicle mode. He does maintain the actual in-game look. He is extremely accurate, but one of the problems was articulation. You know, the arms, they just kind of gorilla arms and hang down here, and every time you move them they unhook, and you can only really just move it at this joint right here, and it's not all too great. The legs were pretty decent, but apart from that, it was kind of lackluster in pretty much every single way. He was a bit too small. Obviously he's really small for the Bruticus chest, but for the most part it was okay kind of in this mode. But then you just look at this thing and it takes it to a whole new level. So as a size comparison here, we're going to use the Optimus Prime, the evasion mode Optimus Prime Voyager. So basically Grimlock also comes to about the same head height as this guy, so he is the same size as a Voyager mode Grimlock. But I just thought that more people right now will probably have this mold and be able to relate to this much more for a size comparison. But very, very awesome. To go from a deluxe that was this big to that is just absolutely fantastic. So it's really, really amazing just for that. So even without Bruticus, just the robot mode and vehicle mode, it just improves so much over that figure. It's absolutely fantastic. So let's just take a closer look at some of the detail in this guy. Absolutely awesome head sculpt there. I'm not actually too sure. It hasn't really got any form of light piping, but I'm not too sure how they've actually done this. There must be like a reflective piece in there, but basically when you shine light at it, it kind of reflects, so it's kind of a reverse form of light piping. You'd expect this to be completely dark, with the back of the head being, there's no actual entry point for light. So really awesome what they've done with the eyes. So you've got a kind of light piping-ish effect without actually compromising on the head sculpt, which is awesome. And the head can move this far up and down, which obviously is a big improvement over the other figure. And then you've got left and right there as well. The arms, like I said, if you move that, then you can get the shoulders to move in pretty much any direction that you want. It looks a bit clumsy up here, and things can come apart a little bit every now and then, but you just kind of put everything back together and put the flaps up, and it's perfectly fine. We've got a rotation down here at the elbow, as well as a ratchet there. No rotation in the wrist, but you can still get him into good firing poses like that, so that doesn't really matter. Waist, you are still lacking a waist joint, but with how solid this thing needs to be as Bruticus, and with all these different hinges and everything, it would have been pretty hard to engineer a waist joint in there, to be honest, so that's perfectly fine for me. But you do get great leg articulation forward and back and then out to the side. You do actually get a knee rotation as well as the knee bend. And then these feet, obviously, they move, but they're really meant to just stay still. But the toes are actually on a ball joint, so they move actually independently. So that's really, really awesome. So as well as this guy, you also get a lot of add-on parts to improve the rest of the Combaticons in the set. Not just in their Bruticus forms, like in their limb modes, but also in their vehicle and robot modes. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So first up then, let's take a look at Swindle. So this is the colour that you'll get for the retail version, and basically if you have these other parts that you need, for example the SDCC versions, you will need to just pull out these black pieces. This is just on a ball joint, and this is just on this little slider thing. You pull them off here and put them on here. Same for these. You take this black bit off and this little black bit in here off of those yellow ones and just whack them onto here. Very easy to pop off and everything, so you're not going to break anything, but that is what you have to do for that. So this is the regular Swindle. Looks great until you turn it round, and then he's kind of completely hollow, has no back, his arms are just on these little limbs here, and it doesn't look all too fantastic. So if we take a look at this, as you can see, it comes with a head. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bring this head out of here. It is kind of tabbed in place there via that little joint. So we're going to bring it around, rotate the head around, and then we're going to get some focus and compare them. So first of all, you can see just how shiny that purple is in the eyes. This one does have proper light piping that is directly behind. It's small, but because it's directly behind, unlike Hasbro when they stupidly put it at the top of the head instead of actually behind the eyes, this thing, I mean, this isn't even, there's no light behind here. This is just the light that's coming back from the white background here, and it is lighting it up absolutely fantastically. And even like when you put it up to a light, it's probably one of the best bits of light piping I've ever seen. So we have these nice little kind of exhaust bits which obviously replicate this bit here, and then you've got the grill in comparison to that grill, and just a comparison of the heads there. It would have been nice to have that little bit of silver on top, but apart from that, I think it improves his facial expression and everything, and yeah, just makes him look a bit more like a kind of classic Swindle. So that looks really awesome. So what we're going to do is just put this one away. So you just put the head away like so, and then you just put it on his back. It just rests there, and that's it. So you see these two clips right here. Well, that's what these bits here are going to peg into. So they go on to here and here, peg into place, and it's as simple as that. So now we have a Swindle with a all new chest piece, new head and everything. You can kind of do whatever you want with this back piece, and fold these bits down so it looks a bit more flush there. There we go. So that's the new Swindle with coverage on his back. It makes it look so much more of just a proper action figure. It's filled out. The proportions are so much better just by giving him a new chest piece, and it's just awesome. So you can still obviously use this gun, or you can store it on the back in that hole where it is in vehicle mode, because in this mode he has some new guns. So what you do here is you push this little black piece out, and then this bit kind of rotates in, and then you just put that in his hand, and then he's got some new blasters. So obviously you've got two of those because of these. And now I'm just going to show you how to get him into his limb mode. Basically, you put it into the normal leg mode for Swindle, like so, and once you're in this mode, you just pry these legs just a touch apart, and then what we want to do is take this, and I mean, you can leave the head like that if you want, or you can rotate it around. It doesn't matter too much. I like to rotate it around. I think it tabs in a bit better if you go that way. And you are actually going to want to remove this black piece here, like so. And then you don't have to worry about losing this. I will show you where you can store it in a second. And then we've got the hole, and then the gap, and we've got the peg, and then the little square piece which is going to go into that gap. So you just put that in the one side, close it up, and then there we go. That is connected in there, and then just rest that down. Make sure that all of this is connected properly. And then over here on the back, you can see the same connectors that we used to put the chest piece on in the first place. If you want to, you can actually just put that right there and have that stored, and you're not going to lose it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up these black pieces, like so. And then at this front peg, we're going to connect that onto this piece right here at the front. And they can come off quite easy, so you've just got to be really careful and just peg it in there. Whoop, don't want that thing falling over on us. It just basically creates a slightly bigger foot. There we are. It just creates a bit of a bigger foot, and also on that joint you've got a bit of a hinge, so you can actually, because pretty much everything does rest on this bottom piece, you can basically give Bruticus a bit more of articulation in the ankle as well. So that's absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, the colour, it's not exactly the same, but it is a pretty close match. So this looks really great and gives you a new awesome Swindle limb mode. So let's move on to Brawl now. So here is Brawl. You may notice that he's got some extra pieces in here and on here, and I will show you exactly what those are when we get into robot mode, but it just shows that the add-on pieces that you actually use for Brawl can stay on in both in both modes, which is fantastic that he can actually transform with his new extra pieces, so you don't have to take him off take him off him every single time. Now he has a bit more armament in both modes, and this essentially it comes packaged like this. This is how it looks for the foot, and these pieces are the darker green pieces you saw earlier. The lighter pieces, they literally, these individual panels, they just pop off. And what you're going to want to do is split this in half. There we go. So we split this open like so. We're going to rotate it on this joint and bring it around. It's it just came undone. It's on a mushroom joint there, so sometimes that will happen. And then what we want to do is just push this peg down like so. And as you can see, it kind of opens up some rockets and things like that. We're going to bring these parts forward, which reveal more rockets. And these kind of look like railguns. It really does remind me of Metal Gear. And then these pieces you can just rotate down, and then you've got even more rockets on these. I'll just get some focus on there for the detail. There you go. So even more rockets on these pieces. You can do whatever you want. You can rotate these pieces however you like. But essentially this is the armament, and basically where the little gun sat in Brawl on the top, you just put that peg in place there. And then there is another peg on top, so you can still put this little gun right there. So you don't have to leave that anywhere. So now Brawl has all of this armament in vehicle mode. And yeah, he looks pretty damn beefy. Now, without all this armament, he does sit like this because of these new pieces that are on the bottom here. But with the armament on, it does weigh him back, and he just looks really, really damn cool. Just put that. See, everything's in mushroom joints. These are actually separate guns for him when he's in his robot mode. That's a great thing about this set as well. There's lots of things that are on mushroom joints that you're not going to break. They just fall off and you just put them back on. But this thing just looks absolutely incredible. The amount of weaponry you can give this guy is insane. So you can leave it on there to do the transformation. I'm just going to take it off just to make it a bit easier for me. So I'll be right back in robot mode. So here's Brawl in robot mode, and as you can see, one side has the add-ons, one side does not. So for the leg, we flip the foot up, and then we put this new piece. There's a peg that just goes in the side. We just peg it on, like so. And then in vehicle mode, you just rotate these so it just sits a bit more flush. But basically this comes down. You rotate them back this way, like so, to give him his foot. Just do that on the other side real quick. Get that rotated around. There we go. Give him his foot. There we are. And then with the waist piece, here it is. Basically it just sits over the hips here on these joints. So you just push that in. It retains the little bit of purple detail that he actually has in that mode anyway. But it just makes it a little bit bigger, gives you a bit more detail, looks very nice. With the hands, you just flip the existing hand back up, and then flip this one on right there. So in vehicle mode it's transformed like that, and then you just flip it down. So all these pieces can actually stay on him in all modes, and it just gives him a little bit of extra height with the feet. Also gives him obviously heels, so he can actually stand up now. Brawl would always fall over. I can even spin him round and he will stay up. And it gives him some slightly bigger hands, which just makes him look a bit more beefy. I mean, he was about the same size as Megatron in the first game, when he just appeared on his own and not as part of the Combaticons. And then, you know, we get this as a figure. But I think Brawl is a fantastic figure anyway, but this just helps him out so much. This armament in exactly the same way. You can plug on the back and just have these bits sticking over the top. Or you can just take these bits off, put them in his hands, and then there you go, you've got some new weapons for him. So for the foot, basically you take this and you transform it back into how we started, and then let's just get this guy transformed up real quick, and then I'll show you how to finish off his limb mode. So what we do is, when we're in this mode, as you can see, you've got these two missile bits sticking out with these tabs. They're actually going to tab into the slots on the side. So this is Brawl. Basically you just put him in his normal limb mode. So essentially he's in his tank mode. I'll just show you. His tank mode, you just rotate these two bits down to the side, the arm bits. You just lift this up, move that out, and that's basically all you have to do to get to this form. So what we do here is just tab this into the one side. Get that in there. Oop, fell out. Get it in properly, and then it'll stay in. There we go. And then bring it round to the other side. Tab this one in. And it's as simple as that. You also get a bit of rock because these two are kind of they've got a moving joint in the center there that they can rotate around, so you have a bit of rocker on this leg too. It's again basically that is Brawl's leg mode. You can put that cannon back in there just for ease of storage. There we go. So there we have two of the limbs sorted. Let's move on to the arms. So as for Vortex here, you basically want to take his vehicle mode, and this mushroom joint right here is just in there. You just basically slide it right off, and you've got these two parts. So it's a little bit of a parts former, but it's not that bad, because it's not a lot. When I first saw pictures of it, I thought, yeah, you know, it's great how awesome it looks, but you do have to take it apart. So you know, it did kind of make it a bit more kind of, you know, parts formery and less exciting for me. But getting it and realizing just how little parts forming there is, just because they're mushroom joints that come apart anyway. You're not actually having to just pop a load of stuff off with this one. You do with Blast Off, but even with that, they're parts that sometimes come off anyway when you're transforming him and stuff, so it's not too bad. So basically, with this guy, you get this gun, which you can use for him in well, any mode if you can find a peg for it, but obviously predominantly in robot mode. So you get this awesome new blaster, and what we want to do to turn this into you know, ready for use for a limb is on the back here. We want to slide the fist off that joint right there. So this is the robot hand. You just want to open it up a little bit, get the thumb out here. So I'll show you the articulation as I go along. He has joints here and here. They're all individually articulated. They do come out very easily, and they are labelled A, B, B, and C. So you just put them back in, and you've got the thumb on a ball joint here, which is very nice. So what we want to do around here is rotate this down, and then I think it might be that way, it might be the other way, but for now we'll just keep it like that. And then with this thing here, you want to rotate this up, and then move it probably about that way, like so, and then flip this up like so, and then basically everything else moves accordingly in that direction. Yes, that's how you want it. So basically you've got this is going to go inside the robot mode, and this locks it in, but for right now this is what we are dealing with. So we got this joint here is going to slide onto this joint right here, like so, and form the top of the arm. And then what we do with the hand here is basically you've got this joint on either side which sits into this bit right here, which these red parts are connected to. So you split the front open a little bit, enabling you to fit it in. Just hold it in place as you rotate it in, clamp it in there. If you can get it to stay, that would be fantastic. And there we go. So basically the hand is in that joint, and then use that mushroom clip to put it on that clip right there. So you just push that into place like so. It will click, and then that is locked in there. And then now you have the arm with articulation right there. You can turn it on that mushroom joint, and you've got the up and down movement. So yeah, that is the completed Vortex arm. You can move this out if you want. You can do whatever you want to fine detail it, but that is the basics of that limb. This part here is the flamethrower, and basically to use it, you just put it inside the fist like that. You just clamp it around the fist like so. If I can get it back together, there we are. And then you've got the flamethrower hand, but in vehicle mode here. You take this, put it down, and then you got the fin. So basically you can put one of those on either side, connecting it into these ports here, and give him some nice side thrusters which look really, really, really awesome, and do actually improve it a fair amount. And then you also get a gun for use in this limb mode, but for this there is more parts forming. Now this guy is actually already taken apart, so you pop this top bit off these ball joints which are connected. Well, you also take this little bit off here which covers the head, so the ball joints are connected onto these bits. And then you take the legs off. They are on mushroom joints like that. So what you're going to want to do is fold it down like he is in robot mode, and we're going to keep him like this, and then have all these parts just like that, put them to one side for a second, and we're going to focus on the gun. So the fist is right here. We just pull that straight out, and then that leaves this cavity. So we're going to open this part up, and then we're going to just kind of open everything and just make it all straighten it out and everything, and I think it goes in like that. There we go. And then this opens up, this flattens out. Actually rotate that like so that can still be used like so. So what we're going to do now that we've got it roughly like this is attach the parts to it. Now this is actually, you could just put the hand straight on in there. I'll just put it in as a fist. It just plugs into the bottom, and you could literally connect that to Onslaught and actually have the arm like that, but we don't want a little skeletal arm, we want the proper arm. So the hands that are inside here, those pegs, attach onto these two pegs right here, if I don't drop it right now. So that attaches on very, very easily and snugly. So there we've got the front of the arm. And now on the back, on these pegs here, you're going to put these holes onto those. So one goes in there, one goes in on the other side like so. So you create the back of the arm, so that fills it out much better. So now you take this chest piece and you flip it upside down like this. These two little gaps and these two little holes plug into these and these. So you line that up and plug that all in, and that's going to sit in there like so. And now to cover that head up, we take the little piece that we took off before, and that just pegs in here. And now you have the complete left arm with, obviously, you've got your wrist articulation because that can move. You've got all the same hand articulation. If I just open it up here and bring the thumb out, you've got obviously your elbow here, your rotation right there. So yeah, very, very cool. So that is your other limb sorted. So now to transform Onslaught into his limb mode, you want to just take the things off of his arm. Basically what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to sort of transform him back into his vehicle mode, but not fully. So you know how the arms were swung back and out like so? I'm going to put them back into that form real quick. If you want to know how to do it, obviously just go ahead and go back to the start of the video where I put his arms out, and you just follow that transformation back so that they're sticking out the back like in vehicle mode. So back in a tick. So here we have the arms in this position. They are now back and in their vehicle mode form. And basically, as you can see, that's pretty much the waist piece right there. So you want to keep them connected in and sitting like this. You're going to want to rotate the forearm pieces so that the blue bits are facing forwards instead of the green bits for the thighs. And then this is where the legs are going to attach. But we're going to do that last. So you can just go ahead and open up the waist piece now if you like. And basically what we want to do here is lift this up like so, rotate it around, and then this is out here. So the legs, they're going to go straight back like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to take these bits off the wheels and put them over to one side for now. And then you can just right, what do we do with these wheels? We're going to take these. They're going to be rotated so that they are situated like that, and we're going to lock this in. So this is going to sit flush like this, and this is going to come down and lock in to there, just like so. That's going to make doing this back bit a hell of a lot easier. But before we fully do all this back, we're going to put the arms in, but I'm just going to get everything open and ready. So we're going to open up these bits. The wheels we're going to swivel back out and down just as if they were in vehicle mode, so they just sit down there. This transformation, it's not too complicated. You know, I've done it a couple of times, so it's not complicated for me now, but the first time you do it, you might be a bit kind of confused at some of these parts, but don't worry about it. So open the flaps up. This bit pops forward like so and opens up. Reveals the head for Bruticus. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the arms and you're going to push them in through this hole right here, like so. And then this piece in here folds forward and locks that arm into position. Then you can move this flap down to cover it, like so. And then we get the other arm, and we're going to do exactly the same for the other side. So we're going to push it in, like so. Get that nice and locked in like so, and then fold it over, and now we have both arms locked in place. Now that we've done that, we can fold that flap forward. We can take the Onslaught head and we make sure that it's pushed down, and we're going to actually, basically in vehicle mode it'd be up here, we're going to rotate it in so it's inside, and that reveals this little peg right here, which is going to go into the peg that's underneath the Bruticus head right there. So we push this piece down and then push that bit down, and that's going to peg in like so and keep that there. Now you may think, well, now we've just got an Onslaught head that's sitting on the back. That's going to be covered by these leg pieces. So basically with the legs, robot mode legs, they're going to be out like this. We're going to fold them back in on themselves. These are the actual feet, you want to keep them there. And the foot here, it has a little hole here and a tab here. So they are going to lock in. As you can see, that side goes up and then holds in place okay. This side that is stressed, when this gets brought up, it does not hold in place okay at all, really. It doesn't stay there. It kind of, as you can see, kind of wants to stick out a little bit, but you don't need to worry about it at all. They tab, well, they kind of lock together just there. They kind of sit into one another there. What we're going to do is we're going to use these cannons right here to hold them in place a lot better. So I'm just resting him down. I'll just take the one cannon. They have a hinge on them, like so. So what we're going to do first is this connector that's opposite the handle is going to sit on this part of the wheel here. So you just connect that, and then there's this little tab which goes into this slot. That gets pushed in, and essentially now this back piece is locked via this to the chest piece. So now this back wheel bit is not going to move anywhere, and we can just move the toes down. So now, with this piece that is stressed, like I said earlier, in vehicle mode and in robot mode, they are locked together and they're perfectly fine, and there's not going to be any problems. Well, there's also no problems in this form, because although it's not going to lock together perfectly well here, if this joint did break, all we have to do is connect the cannon onto the back, bring it round to the front here, make sure that that is lined up in the back there, lock it into place, there it goes, just make sure that they're, like I said again, locked, there we go, everything is connected. As you can see, it's held up perfectly fine. The back is all together now. Just bring the camera up so you can see. Fills the back in completely. And then we bring it around to the front, and doesn't that just look absolutely fantastic? The cannons can still rotate in this mode as well. So yeah, absolutely awesome. So then what we're going to do, these bits that were connected before, you flick out this little spike and it clips into place. This peg goes into the holes on each of these flaps. Just there. Just like so. So that fills it in even more and gives him that awesome chest plate. So I'm going to go to the other side, and then I'm going to put the legs on, and then we'll be done. So here is Bruticus now all put together, and there is still one more add-on. So this set came with the Berserk mask, which is right here, and basically it's just, get some focus, there we go. Basically it's just without the faceplate. So basically you've just got that little peg right in there, you just basically pull that one off and put that one back in. So that is the comparison of the two, and that's how it would look on him. Really, really awesome addition for those people who want it. It's a nice little extra incentive to get people to pre-order it, and yeah, it worked, and it's a nice little thing. Make your Bruticus unique. So here he is with the flamethrower piece, and then obviously there is the other hand. So that's obviously a massive improvement over the original Bruticus. So there are still some bad points in this form. Nothing to do with like quality control like what I had with that little hinge, but rather down here at the feet, these two pieces here come off very easily, that just, you know, peg together onto this piece. Because they only attach with these pegs, I really wish that they had, you know, an extra point to attach at the back, just to make them a bit more secure, but obviously then you wouldn't be able to get the leg to pivot or something. So I just wish that there was something else, like an extra clip or something down here, instead of just these little pegs, because they just come off so easy. Another thing is the actual joint in Brawl himself, the purple joint at the knee. It's not loose, it's the same problem that we had with the other Bruticus basically, which wasn't really a problem because you couldn't really move the thighs to get more of you know, the articulation through. But the problem is with this weight on, and the fact that you can now have the more articulation in these thigh joints, because you actually get the proper joint there that you used before. It was the elbow joint in the arm, and now obviously it's the hip. That joint is not as good of a ratchet as these joints. So yeah, just be careful when you're posing him and moving around those knee joints there. But for the most part, this thing looks absolutely fantastic. Also, these parts in here, when the arms come together to form this bit in the waist and you clip it in, I wish that that had more of a clip in here, because sometimes when you're moving around these joints here with the ratchets, sometimes you do actually pull these parts apart, so you have to put them back together and reconnect it underneath here for the hip. But apart from that, everything else is pretty much perfect. You've seen all the articulation, you know, you've got obviously these joints, these legs can move out and forward and back now. You've got more articulation going in the arms. He looks more of like a kind of humanoid than just some kind of you know, monkey kind of mess. You know, before the arms were really too long for the body, but now with this Voyager sized body, it looks absolutely fantastic. So here he is now with a size comparison next to the Fans Project version of Bruticus. So this is the Asia exclusive version of the Universe / the original Energon mold of Bruticus, and then it has the Explorer, and down here a Swindle Munitioner added on. And that is my favourite version of Bruticus. That is until we get the Warbatron fully complete. So I got that on pre-order, so hopefully next month everything comes out, and then I'll be able to build that up and do a review for you guys for that. So if you want to check that out, remember to subscribe. But basically, this thing still my favourite Bruticus at the moment. It was my first set of third-party products, so really do love this thing. It's got a lot of sentimental value to me, but this is so fantastic as just a Bruticus and not just a figure. This is definitely better, and I know it's not anything to do with one another apart from the fact that it is Bruticus, but it's just so cool. You can see that it stands very tall in comparison with other third-party combiners, meaning this is actually about the same size as the Stunticons, the Menacer that we got from Fans Project, because that is actually about that size. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. So he really will fit in much better with a lot of your displays. The extra height also helps, obviously, displaying it with the deluxe figures from the game. So he looks even better in those kind of displays that you can get going with Jazz and Prime and Bumblebee and everyone from those games. So really do like this add-on kit in upgrading this amazing set. And as for a final little size comparison, here is Optimus. So he comes up to pretty much exactly at the bottom of the waist there of Bruticus. So that is how he looks next to a Voyager. So very good new size from this thing. The plastic quality is really good. Things are not going to break on you. That one little bit of QC problem with that hinge on Onslaught, it's not too major, like I said, because you can still connect it in both vehicle and robot mode and combiner mode perfectly fine, even if that breaks. So if you have a similar problem to what I have experienced, it's gonna still work perfectly fine. So if you have the original set and you want to make it better, maybe you like it but just not quite enough, then this thing is going to reignite your love for it, and it really is worth it. So you should definitely go ahead and take a look. You can find it on places like Big Bad Toy Store, TF Source, Compare Toys is where I got mine from, so go ahead and check it out. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I know it's been a long one. If you want to see more pictures of this, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Homerino123 for both, so you can see more pictures of this guy in action with other Transformers. If you want to check out that Warbatron review when that comes out, we can have a bit of a Bruticus party with the three of these guys here. Remember to click on that subscribe button. I know it's been a long video, but trust me, it's been a hell of a long time, recording this thing, and I know it's going to take a long time to edit this thing up, so I hope you like it, and if you do, click on that like button. But that's pretty much it for me, guys, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.